Hey guys, and welcome back to Unit 3 of this Fabo module with international media support. Now, in Unit 3, we've been looking at different camera technologies, and I started by explaining augmented reality and layering the internet onto the world. I now want to talk to you about a different kind of camera that's having a huge impact on the journalism landscape. It's one that's in the sky, you control it with a remote control. It's a drone. This is about drone journalism. Now, you might be familiar with the word drone from the US military and kind of airstrikes that take place, but today drones are a pretty affordable filmmaking tool. They are really simple to use. They unpack like this. They've often got kind of 4 legs, and they're operated with a remote control that's not too different to playing a PlayStation. You go backwards, forwards, left, right, up, down. And most of the drones that are in the market are pretty safe. They kind of have the ability to sense walls and things in their environment. And if you let go of the control, many drones will stay exactly where they are. So my first impression of working with drones is that it was a lot easier than I thought. Now, I've filmed with communities and drones all over the world, from Sri Lanka to India or across Europe and North America. And drones offer something really unique for journalism. One, it kind of elevates the quality of your storytelling. It just takes it to a new landscape. And two, it can be good for particular kinds of stories, especially if you want to show the scale of something, the scale of a problem, or the scale of how beautiful something is in a tourism piece, or if you want to locate the audience very early on and you say, okay, this is the kind of environment that we're working with. But I want to tell you about how some media organizations around the world have used drones in really innovative ways to tell stories. In the aftermath of Typhoon Haiyan in 2013, the Daily Telegraph were able to get a drone in the sky above the Philippines and give the world some of the most amazing footage showing you the devastation that had taken place on the ground. For a typhoon or any natural disaster, getting a drone up in the sky really gives you an idea of the scale of the issue that we're dealing with. And they were able to create some really evocative and emotional storytelling. I've also seen some incredible examples of drone journalism when we look at the bombardment of places like Aleppo in Syria, cities that have been abandoned by massive populations, and now you see the rubble and concrete and destruction. And just being able to visualize it at that kind of scale from a drone is really powerful. It often allows people also to get into really dangerous situations without having to physically be in the front line themselves. Now, do you guys remember the Rio Olympics in 2016? There was the Buzzing Cities Lab that managed to get drones in the sky and capture the story of favelas. Of course, when you have any major international event like the World Cup, countries like Brazil or even South Africa in 2010 invested billions of dollars to create stadiums and hotels and all this infrastructure for international tourists to arrive. And there was a lot of media in the public interest space that was saying, hey, could this money be better used to focus on housing or schooling or other developmental work instead of hosting an international event? And looking into the favelas was really an ability to see the poverty and inequality on the fringes of this global event. Drones can also be used to unpack historical locations in really special ways. The BBC got a drone in the skies above Auschwitz in Poland and looked at the concentration camps of World War II. That was a fascinating view of just these massive pieces of cruel infrastructure that had been established. It's a must-watch piece of drone journalism. So guys, we'll drop links to all the examples I've mentioned in the bottom of this Fabo module, but for now, sit back and enjoy as I show you some of the drone journalism that I've captured over the years through my travels. Now, remember, if you're thinking about getting into drone journalism, safety is really important. Now, I've done some things that were probably not too safe, flying indoors, near crowds. You want to avoid all that kind of stuff. Most countries have legislation around where you can and can't fly. There's often apps that show you where the no-fly zones are. But as a general rule, in most parts of the world, you want to avoid flying over people or large populations. And of course, you want to understand where the no-fly areas are and flight paths are going through, because you don't want to be interacting with airplanes. All right, next up, I'm going to talk to you guys about social VR and virtual reality more broadly. Watch this.